Daniel or Belteshazzar is one of the few prophets within the ancient confirmation. His life and prophecies are included within the Bible within the book that bears his title. The meaning of his title is God is my judge, or God has judged, or even God will judge. There are two other men named Daniel within the Bible, one being a child of Lord David and the other a priest. We'll conversation around the total story of the prophet Daniel, who Daniel was, and what ready to learn around his individual life. We'll cover different occasions of his life. So in today's video, we'll talk almost the story of the prophet Daniel. Welcome to Seeing Jesus Christ and Sin Flooding and There Cherished. I inquire for the assistance of all of you to subscribe to the channel and actuate the notice chime. In the event that you just like the video, take off a like. It truly makes a difference me deliver more recordings. Without advance ado, let's get into the video and where Daniel lived, and when his book was composed. The scriptural account of Daniel the prophet starts when he and other youthful men from Judah were captured by ruler Nebuchadnezzar and Babylon around 604 BC. This imprisonment of the citizens of Judah in Babylon kept going for 70 a long time, as God had predicted through the prophet Jeremiah. Amid this period, Daniel served in noticeable positions within the governments of different Babylonian and Glade Persian rulers, counting Nebuchadnezzar, Belshazzar, Darius, and Cyrus. Within the to begin with year of Darius's rule around 539 BC, Daniel came to get it and essentially demonstrated once more the prescience of Jeremiah, which anticipated a 70-year imprisonment of his people. The conclusion of the 70 a long time was drawing nearer at that time. Daniel was likely 80 or 90 a long time ancient by at that point. He lived a long life, but the book of scriptures does not tell us how ancient he was when he kicked the bucket. Daniel wrote his book within the 4th century BC. Since the book of Daniel contains so many detailed prophecies of things that happened centuries afterward, a few skeptics recommend that it could be a extortion composed much afterward in history. In any case, uncovering the long run is what God does. See in case through Isaiah. God announces, keep in mind the previous things of ancient, for I am God, and there's no other. I am God, and there's none like me, announcing the conclusion from the starting and from old times. Things not however done, saying, my direct might stand, and I will finish all my purpose. Daniel was a eunuch. Eunuchs were men who were regularly castrated and regularly served within the organizations of rulers. Amid Daniel's time, some wonder on the off chance that Daniel was a eunuch, because the book of Daniel notices that the youthful sovereigns of Judah were beneath the supervision of Ishpenaz, the ace of his eunuchs. This reference does not fundamentally cruel that the 4 youthful Jews were eunuchs. Ishpenaz was a part of the court whom the ruler knew he seemed believed to perform critical capacities, like instructing the sovereigns within the ways of their have-nation. At the starting of Judah's kingdom story, we discover Hezekiah, ruler of Judah, impulsively appearing the treasures of his house to the emissaries of the Lord of Babylon. God propelled Isaiah to articulate a prescience around his relatives. So Isaiah said to Hezekiah, observe, the days are coming when all that's in your house which your fathers have put away up till this day, should be carried to Babylon. Nothing might be cleared out, says the master, and a few of your claimed children who will come from you, whom you may father, shall be taken absent, and they might be eunuchs within the royal residence of the ruler of Babylon. In spite of the fact that Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah are not particularly said as relatives of Hezekiah, the prediction was made amid the time when Merodach-Baladan was lord of Babylon. This was roughly 100 a long time. Sometime recently they left for Babylon beneath ruler Nebuchadnezzar. In spite of the fact that there were limitations in Israel with respect to eunuchs, Jesus Christ appears that indeed in the event that they were eunuchs, the demeanor illustrated by such individuals as Daniel and his 3 companions is the same state of mind that will permit us to be portion of the kingdom of God. For there are eunuchs who have been so from birth, and there are eunuchs who have been made eunuchs by men, and there are eunuchs who have made themselves eunuchs for the purpose of the kingdom of paradise. Let the one who is able to get this get it. All through the centuries, God has drawn people to be portion of his kingdom who confronted extreme difficulties. Daniel was one of those individuals considered honest, being expelled from his country and taken to a remote nation, likely in his puberty. It must have been traumatic. Daniel's life, in any case, was ended up an illustration for all of us. Daniel's 3 companions. The 3 Jewish companions of Daniel who were taken captive with him were Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. The names of these three companions were changed by the Babylonians to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Daniel was given the title Belteshazzar. These names consolidated the names of Babylonian divine beings. But Daniel and his three companions chosen to stay reliable to God. This would be demonstrated a few times within the occasions related within the book of Daniel. Hi, Daniel, a faithful man of God. The book of Daniel appears that he may be a loyal man of God. Instead of contaminating themselves with the nourishment given by ruler Nebuchadnezzar, Daniel and his three companions chose to eat vegetables and drink as it were water. God favored their endeavors, and after a 10-day test, their appearances were considered sound by the steward, who had been allotted beneath their care. In another scene, King Nebuchadnezzar undermined to crush all the astute men in the event, that they did not tell him the meaning of his dream. Daniel and his companions inquired for time, so that he and his three companions may argue with God in supplication to reveal this data. When God replied their supplication, Daniel recalled to Lord and thanked God for giving them what they had inquired for. Daniel within the lion's sanctum. Once the authorities of ruler Darius contrived against Daniel, they attempted to discover a few kind of wrongdoing in his life, but were unsuccessful since Daniel was an upright man. So they realized that the as it were conceivable thing to discover against Daniel was with respect to his submission to the law of the master. They influenced ruler Darius to issue a proclaim that for a period of 30 days, no one might supplicate to any god, but to the Lord. This declare was culpable by passing. Daniel learned around the declare but proceeded his day-by-day schedule of supplications, opening the windows confronting Jerusalem as normal, stooping, and giving much appreciated to the ruler 3 times a day. Daniel was caught within the hint minute with the ruler in supplication in his room. The 120 governors and the 2 presidents promptly went to talk to ruler Darius. At that point and there, he realized the genuine meaning of that declare was not fair to, if you don't mind the ruler, but a scheme to devastate Daniel. Lord Darius was startled at the greatness and productivity of his colleagues' maleficence. Bound by the conventions existing within the court, the Lord had no choice but to implement the law and requested Daniel to be tossed into the lion's cave. Be that as it may, Daniel's declaration was surprising. Sometime recently the Lord talked to Daniel, saying that the God whom he persistently served might provide him from the lions. The ruler fixed the sanctum with his ring, making it clear that the sentence was irreversible. He went to his quarters but seemed not rest, knowing that Daniel was blameless. At daybreak, the Lord emerged and rushed to the lion's cave. As he drew nearer the sanctum, he called out to Daniel in an anguished voice, "Daniel, worker of the living God, has your God whom you serve ceaselessly been able to protect you from the lions?" Daniel answered, "My God sent his blessed messenger, and he closed the mouths of the lions. They have not harmed me since I was found blameless in his locate, nor have I ever done any off-base sometime recently, your grandness," the Lord commanded, and those men who had denounced Daniel were brought and tossed into the lion's cave. At the side their children and their spouses. Sometime recently they come to the foot of the cave. The lions overwhelmed them and pulverized all their bones. Daniel and ruler Belshazzar. One day, Belshazzar assembled numerous nobles and tossed their extraordinary devour within the city of Babylon. When he was exceptionally tanked, he recalled that Nebuchadnezzar had taken a few brilliant vessels from the sanctuary of Jerusalem. When he annihilated it, Belshazzar requested these vessels to be brought to him. The nobles, their wives, and their concubines drank from it, and the party became corrupt, and all began to worship false gods. This insult to God did not go unnoticed. During the festival, a human hand appeared out of nowhere and wrote words on the wall. When King Belshazzar saw this, he was so frightened that his knees fell down. Belshazzar immediately summoned all the wise men and promised that whoever could read the inscription would be made third in command of the kingdom. However, no one could read what was written, which frightened the king even more. Then the queen came and interpreted part of Nebuchadnezzar's dream, and told Belshazzar about the prophet Daniel, who had great wisdom. He called Daniel and asked him to read and interpret the inscription. Daniel didn't want a reward, but he gave an interpretation. Daniel explained that the words mean, tekel, parson, were written on the wall. Mean means numbers. Belshazzar's time and power was numbered. Tekel means to weigh. Belshazzar was weighed in the balance, but was found wanting. Partition means division. Belshazzar's kingdom would be divided among other nations, the Medes and the Persians. Daniel also rebuked Belshazzar for his arrogance and contempt for God. The story of the prophet Daniel is a testament to the power of faith, resilience, and obedience to God. His life journey, marked by extraordinary events and divine intervention, continues to captivate and inspire people of faith around the world. Daniel's unwavering dedication to God set him as a timeless example of justice and courage in the face of adversity, leaving a lasting legacy of faithfulness and dedication. Belshazzar knew the story of his predecessor Nebuchadnezzar, who grazed like an ox for 7 years, and was humiliated by God for his arrogance. Despite this, Belshazzar continued to act wickedly and abominably before God. Now Belshazzar will suffer the consequences. When Belshazzar heard this interpretation, he placed Daniel in 3rd place in the kingdom as promised. But that night Babylon fell into the hands of the Medes and Persians. The Babylonian Empire came to an end, and Belshazzar was killed. As for Daniel, there are no records regarding the date and circumstances of his death, but it is likely that he died in Susa at the age of about 85. Perhaps there is a grave where his body rests. This place is known as Susa. That was the video, guys. If you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to click the notification bell. God bless you all until the next video.